All right, team. How you doing? Coach Dana Cavalea here with you on the Becoming a Champion show. I sit down today with the American CEO, Jim Huether. He's leading the company Hyperice. They make this very cool tool right here. Some of you may have it, you may know it, but it helps to aid us in recovery. It helps to relieve stress. It helps to take just tension out of our bodies, which in turn allows us to move better, which is what Hyperice stands for. It's a company that wants to help us move better. And this was a great conversation. Jim's a great guy. I love sitting down with him. And we spoke about the fast growing company of Hyperice. They're valued at $1 billion. He's the leader of that company. They're growing quick. They're an exciting brand. They're very attractive to talent. And Jim shares some of the lessons that he's using to grow this company and build this company, do deals with some of the professional sports leagues, professional sports teams, and take their brand global. So sit back and enjoy the show today with Jim Huether. And if you do, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and enjoy the show. A question that I had for you is, how long have you been with Hyperice? How long have you been the CEO over there?
Yeah, so I joined Hyperice in 2014 in January. So it's been a little bit over 7 years.
Okay.
So at the time we were, I think we had 6 employees. I think I was number 6 at the time.
Wow.
So really early on. In the company at the time, Anthony Katz, the founder of Hyperice, really good at product development and branding. There were some great things about the company at the time. Good building blocks, but the business foundation, the team, and the strategy, all of that wasn't built yet. So we really started out focusing on sports performance because we knew if we could create the authenticity there, gain the credibility from the world's most elite athletes, the physical therapists, the strength and conditioning coaches, the directors of athletic training, if we could get their buy-in, we could take that to the mass consumer.
Yeah.
So we started working on that in 2014 in a really big way.
You know, it's cool too. Sort of when you guys were coming into the market, the trends in pro sports were definitely shifting towards how do we keep these players healthy? How do we keep them on the field? You know, their asset value just continued to rise. So
Right.
every day that they weren't on the field was very costly. And I think you guys, answered, our questions as performance professionals. What can we do? What else can we do to keep these guys going?
Exactly. And that's really it for us. I mean, we focused on the teams because we knew, and actually the Yankees were one of the first baseball teams to really integrate us into their approach. But we knew that professional sports teams were going to spend the most time, energy, and resources on the best physical therapists, the best athletic trainers, the best sports performance experts, and the best technology to keep their multi-million-dollar assets on the field, to your point. Yeah. So I think getting their buy-in was really important. And we actually learned a lot that we applied to our product development initiatives from those experts because they had a lot of feedback on, hey, this product should feel like this, or what do you think about this new modality? So it's been a long-lasting relationship, and they're an integral part of our company's product development initiatives.
Yeah, well, I'll give you an example. Early on, one of your early competitors, which I think you've now really accelerated past, just the volume alone of the device. When you're using something like this, it's soothing, it's smooth, it's not very loud. Where the competitors, it was da 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 da, and players before a game, they want to relax, or after a game they want to relax too. So again, that was an immediate. You could tell you guys were in the trenches and learning from what from professionals.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you pointed that out because we took a lot of time. We actually launched our first percussion device in 2016. It was the Raptor. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
device.
it was like you needed 2 hands for that sucker.
Exactly. It was the first ever quiet, portable, multi-speed device. And at that time, we had multiple heads and multiple attachments, but we took our time to launch the Hypervolt because we knew that it had to be powerful and quiet, to your point. Recovery also has a mindset element to it, right? Yeah. And we were doing a lot of work with spas and massage clinics and workplace wellness at the time. So we were very meticulous in our development process. We actually have former aerospace engineers on staff who worked on SpaceX rockets, who put their time and energy into the development of the Hypervolt. And when we launched in 2018 in February, I mean, boom, it was all over the world. I remember we sold out in 6 hours. I remember
Wow.
exactly where I was sitting, and from there it's been just constant innovation and product development.
Yeah. I feel like too, I mean, you had other products when you launched as well, right?
Yes, yes.
But
So
what do you think allowed this product to be almost, I would think it's a sort of a signature product for you.
yes, yes, definitely. It is. I think that people really like the delivery mechanism, and they like that it's handheld and portable, and that they can kind of control it.
Yeah.
So that the versatility is very important. But for us, I think why it was so popular is we'd already built the foundation with our other devices. We
Mm.
had the Viper, which is our high intensity vibrating roller, which was really popular in professional sports training rooms.
Yep.
We had our ice compression technology, which is kind of the beginning of the company. Kobe Bryant worked on the design there with us. So, and then we had good distribution with partners like Equinox and Lifetime Fitness. And so it kind of was a perfect storm of launching a fantastic device at the right price point,
Yeah.
with the right science behind it when we had a lot of brand momentum in the early stages.
Yeah, because I think the Raptor, when you guys first put that out there, that was over $1,500, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's 20. I think we launched it actually at 3,000.
Yeah, I knew it was up there. And this, something like this, I mean, now you're in many homes. I'm sure many people use it like me, where it's, hey, at night when I'm watching a show or something, I have it right next to me, and I'm pounding away, and it's just easy. And again, it's relaxing as well, which is pretty cool. So
Agreed.
I want to, as this show, I have a lot of executives, a lot of CEOs that listen, a lot of athletes. It's really a mixed bag, and those that are, into business. For you, did you see yourself? I mean, when you were younger, is this what you wanted to do? Did you want to be the CEO of a company? Was that your dream?
Yeah, so when I was young, I wanted to be a sports agent. I wanted to be Jerry Maguire. That movie inspired me, and when I was in undergrad, went to Loyola Marymount University, and when I was in undergrad, I did management and business law, and my plan was to do a joint MBA JD program. I was going to then go be a sports agent,
Okay.
and and also do the MBA with it. And when I went into school, the first year we did was MBA, and I just fell in love with business. I fell in love with the case studies. I fell in love with how you could turn companies around, what made companies tick, what made companies succeed and fail.
Mm,
And really was kind of inspired. So at that point, I did want to be a CEO of a company. I really loved kind of the entrepreneurialism and how you could mix leadership in with strategy. I really enjoyed all the elements. So I shifted my career path and started out in finance, worked at some early stage sports tech startups,
okay.
but always did want to be kind of in this role. So it sounds cliche, but I love coming into work. Like Sunday night hits, I'm ready to rock. Like this is
Yeah.
definitely a passion and a hobby for me as well.
No, that's awesome. And did you grow up around business? What, in terms of your family, how were you raised?
Yeah, so I grew up in Silicon Valley.
Okay.
So my father was actually one of the first engineers at Atari, and
Wow.
developed a lot of the early video game concepts. And then he was an executive at Sega. So I grew up around the gaming market, actually. I always played sports, but saw a lot of kind of the sports and entertainment communities as I was growing up, and obviously being in Silicon Valley, saw everything that was going on in the business world. So I do think that had an impact. I'm definitely not a gamer by any means, but we actually got into esports as a company, and that was kind of a full circle
Yeah.
integration from kind of my childhood. So I think growing up in Silicon Valley, growing up in Santa Clara, Los Gatos, that area, probably contributed to it.
Yeah, no, I would say it's a definitely a breeding ground for talent, in the business space. That's for sure. And with Brady, you got the football god out there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. And for where you guys are now, you said you started. The team was very, very small. Would you say you were number 6?
I was number 6. Yep.
And where are you guys now?
Yeah, we have over 150 team members now, that are full time, and then a bunch more throughout the world. Some of them in consulting capacities and such. So
Mm.
we probably have 200 to 300 people working on the brand throughout the
Yeah.
world in 60 countries. And we're very meticulous in our hiring process. Our approach is, we feel like if you take your time making sure that you acquire talent, but also someone who is a great culture fit. They're
Mm.
just going to lift everybody up around them, just like a sports team. So we use a lot of those analogies of sports and bring it into the working environment. And I think because of that, we have a very, very collaborative environment. And
Yeah.
a lot of our thinking goes outside specific silos of the organization, which I think
Mm.
is really effective.
So as you describe that perfect Hyperice employee,
Right.
who is that avatar?
Yeah, great question. So great work ethic, can work really well in teams, and has a high aptitude for learning. So they want to learn and they want to thrive.
Mm.
We don't want to hire people who just are hired and they're great in one specific role. We want to hire the next VP, right, who can progress through the company. So they want to learn. They want to have a good work ethic and understand that they're going to have to put, good work in. We have a huge mission. We're trying to change the world and change the way people think about movement,
Yeah.
change the way they approach their lives. So those are kind of the three attributes we really look at.
Okay. No, it's cool. The one thing I
Yeah.
was wondering, as you're growing this brand, I mean, you've really seen some pretty, strong acceleration in just the past few years.
Yep.
How have you kept up with the hiring? Because, most people, I work with a lot of CEOs and they say, just can't find the talent. We can't find the talent, and then we can't manage the talent, and then we can't train the talent.
Yep.
How have you done it?
I feel like that one has not been a challenge for us,
Okay.
very candidly, because I think that the space is growing so fast, the overall health and wellness space.
Mm.
And people see, the partnerships with Patrick Mahomes and the Lakers and LeBron James and, all of those things that are very exciting and unique. And I think it pulls people in. I also think we have a really good network because we have so many former athletes.
Yeah.
Their network spans very wide. And we actually have a lot of international athletes who played professional volleyball in Europe who have also recruited new talent for us. So I feel like it's definitely been a challenge making sure that we get people in here extremely fast.
Mm.
But I think the quality of people and the amount of kind of inbound resumes, it's really just a matter of like honing in on those people.
Yeah, I think too, you guys have somewhat of a cool, sexy, attractive brand. So you sort of have that magnetism working as well. That maybe some, older traditional companies may not have.
Totally. We kind of aspire to be a combination of an Apple, a Tesla, a Dyson, and a Nike, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were to put those companies together, we have the cool factor. I think very humbly, like we're building the cool factor kind of like Beats did in a sense.
Yeah.
But then have this worldwide impact of changing the physiology of the human body.
Mm.
So I think it's a really unique blend. And it's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, it definitely it has that feel. It's the word I use is cool. It has a cool factor to it. And again, it's sleek. It's just got a good feel. And it's almost like a little bit of it's fashion in a way.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I always feel like, when I would bring something like this to work on somebody, it's cool. Hey, where'd you get that? Where can I get that? What is that?
I love that. It's funny because Naomi Osaka is really into fashion. Obviously one of the world's most marketable athletes and, just won another championship, Australian Open. But for her, she's really into fashion, and she actually collaborated with us on a custom Hypervolt, drew it up herself, had a really cool skin around it. So we are figuring out creative ways to kind of accessorize the products and make them very personalized and custom.
So the future may have hyper skin.
Nice. We'll have to trademark that one.
Yeah, it's yours, man. It's yours. You could take it. Run with it. I won't come back at you. It's our exchange for time today.
That's classic.
Yeah.
There's a funny joke because my wife actually came up with the name Hypervolt. And so one of our investors, as a joke, because he knows my wife, he's always like, oh yeah, Jessica, she's going to start demanding that royalty check pretty soon.
That's awesome. Jim, how is it for you as a, you're not the founder of the company, you're an appointed CEO, and Anthony, you said, is the founder.
Yep.
Most founders are very visionary, creative, sometimes off the wall.
Yeah.
And you seem, creative, but a little bit more linear.
Yeah.
How is it working, with a visionary and, keeping things moving forward?
Yeah. So we have a fantastic relationship. And I think that, us working together, our strengths complement each other very well. We both are very big thinkers. We both, see this company as it's much more than selling Hyperbolts and selling Vipers. We both connected in wanting to change the way people think about health, right? How do we change the way people live? How do we get them enjoying their life more thoroughly? Not just the pro athlete, but the everyday consumer. So when we first met in 2014, we both aligned on that vision. I think for us, he is very creative on the brand side, very creative on the product development side. And we really look at each other as, how do we both kind of divide and conquer and bring all the strengths and attributes we have. There's rarely any time where we'll see things differently. And if we do, generally it comes back to the mission and the movement and the same vision. And I think it's huge. And I think it's very rare too. I really do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you guys, where you both excel, and you could stay in your lanes, but when you come together, it's based on a strategic goal and mission that you're both on and aligned to, which is cool. As you're building this thing out, I mean, the company's obviously grown. I think you guys are, around $1 billion, right?
Yep.
Right now. Have you ever run $1 billion company before?
I have not. No.
Yeah. So what's cool about that? And I asked, it's a loaded question because you're learning.
Yeah.
And you're in the driver's seat of this thing. And I just find that to be so cool. But I wanted to ask you, as you're in that position and you have this, great brand, what are some of the things that you deal with that, even some of your own personal, like, fears or hesitations, because you haven't done it before? How do you embrace the unknown?
Yeah. So great. I love that question, by the way. That's one of the best questions I've ever been asked. I think that, one of the key points that I mentioned in hiring, right? The aptitude for learning. I think what makes a good leader in any company is, you have to approach it by sometimes highlighting, I don't need to come off as I know everything all the time. I don't, right?
Yep.
I think part of the reason our team, trusts me to help them, put them in a position where they're going to succeed, is because they know that I'm very open. I'm learning too, right? I didn't know very much about global business at all when I came to Hyperice. I knew a lot about sports marketing, a lot about US business, but I never explored the China market, the Asia market, the European markets, right? I learned that on the job, and I'm still learning today, right? Hypersmart technology, we launched a new connected app, which is pulling wearable data from tracking devices like Apple Health and Strava, and then curating recommendations for customers, which is amazing. I mean, this is really cutting edge stuff. I'd never done that before, right? But that's what's so fun about this. There's never been a recovery tech space before.
Yeah.
How many people can you go hire that have ever done recovery tech and built $1 billion brand? There is zero. We're the only $1 billion recovery tech brand ever in the history of recovery tech brands, right? Yeah. So, there's always got to be those, humbly, like those innovators and first movers who get there. And everybody in our company, I always say, you're going to have, whether you work at Hyperice in 5 years or you're somewhere else, you work at Tesla, wherever it is, you're going to have the experience and the knowledge base of this space that barely anyone in the world knows. And that's really valuable and exciting.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think, some of the challenges, I think sometimes are overcome by our knowing that we're not going to know everything and we're going to make some mistakes because nobody's ever carved this path before. And that to me is inspiring. I learn from our team members all the time too, right? Yeah. Like there's experience within our team that, they're learning every day, and they'll come and want to set a meeting like, hey, what do you think about this space? How do we tap esports? Let's try it. Let's be the first.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
So I have this philosophy, and I usually, when I coach you, I draw two arrows. I say one is up and it says pressure. The other one is down and it's passion. And it's saying that really pressure and passion are inversely related. So if you're passionate, which it sounds like you really are,
yep.
The pressure of, hey, I haven't done this before remains low because you're so enthusiastic and the team is so enthusiastic to move forward and build this thing. And where the heck can we take this? How big can we go? How many lives can we change? That you actually you probably don't feel a lot of the pressure that you could feel if you were less passionate.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that. I think that's a smart way to approach it. And I think that a lot of times we talk a lot about positive energy.
Hmm.
We actually, as part of when everybody onboards, they read the book Energy Bus, which I'm sure you've read before.
Yeah, yeah. John's a friend of mine. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a great book for us because I think it just helps us highlight, and we still want to, when there's bad things that happen, we want to bring them up and fix them, of course. But it's really the approach. It's the mental approach. Here's an obstacle. I could spend a lot of energy worrying about that obstacle and thinking all the ways that that obstacle could create challenges, or I could try to find a solution,
Hmm.
right? And a lot of times people waste a lot of energy on just stressing and fretting and thinking about all the ways somebody could fail, and you're wasting that energy. Let's approach it with, how do we bring the team, how do we bring the strategy to accomplish this task and overcome this obstacle?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of embedded into the core of the company,
Hmm.
and it helps us get through unique challenges in a very effective way.
Yeah, it's super cool. I love that you guys attack in that way. How do you get yourself prepped? One thing I like to talk to leaders about, especially of growth companies, is how do you get yourself prepped for every day? What is Jim's routine day to day? I mean, are you a
Yeah,
fitness guy? Do you plan your
yeah,
meals? Are you banded up looking at your
yeah,
HRV? I mean,
yeah. Great question. I self-admittingly, I definitely need to stay off my phone a little bit more because it's hard to shut down. That's
we all
probably
do.
um, and luckily my wife is like very understanding in that capacity. But I get up pretty early. Like I'm up at like probably 5:50 ish, right
Okay.
around the latest 6. I'll usually scan and check my emails first thing in the morning just to start mentally prepping on how I'm going to attack my day. I don't know if that's the best strategy mentally long term, but it's really worked for me because then at least as I'm preparing in the morning, I can start thinking about, okay, what do I want to attack? Do I need to talk to China or Europe this morning? What time do I have to, plan my day? So that to me is important, just to scan for things that are really important and critical.
Yeah.
Um, I usually will run or hit the Peloton bike in the morning. If not, as soon as I get home, that's really important to me. I have to do something active every day. I think it keeps my mind going. Let's see, I'm usually driving into the office. I still come in because nobody's here. It's a completely empty, desolate office of 16,000 square feet. So I feel like since we're paying for it, I may as well be in here. So I still drive in. I usually get in here like, 7:30, 7:45, and then start attacking our international business and then work my way into the East Coast, US, et cetera. So it's pretty nonstop. One of our big focuses this year is being global.
Hmm.
And so we have a lot of nighttime, early morning calls and such. But I think a lot of health and wellness is embedded in my core. I have to make sure I'm doing something every day active. And, I definitely get up pretty early and start attacking the day.
And how do you manage, A, your energy,
Yeah.
and B, also being a husband? Do you have kids as
Yeah, I
well?
do. Yeah. So I have a
Yes. So how do you manage all that and the big baby of the
yeah.
global brand Hyperice?
Yeah. I have a 3.5 and a 1.5. And so young kids.
Hmm.
And I mean, they definitely helped me get up really early. That's for sure. um,
Yeah.
it's been great. I mean, I think that any CEO executive is going to struggle with just kind of time management, family versus work, just getting everything dialed in and being present all the time. So I work on that a lot. Like
Hmm.
when I get home, I try to like shut it down for at least 30 minutes, like right away when I see my kids. So I think there's always like a challenge there, but at the end of the day, I think having a family and having that support system is massive for any executive. And but it is definitely something you're always working on from a balance perspective.
Yeah. I was talking last week to Ben Sherwood, the former president of Disney. I had him on the show and we were chatting, and he said, everybody talks about living life in balance. He said,
Yep.
I've actually learned to live life out of balance.
Yep.
And in doing so, I know that there's times for sprinting and there's times for rest and recovery,
Yep.
which
I
is cool.
it's something that everybody has to work on. I think I definitely think the other way I approach it sometimes too is when I know that my work-life balance is a little bit out of whack, I just try to reframe that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity also. Like what we're doing is so unique
Yeah.
and so different, and we're carving kind of a new path, and it's so exciting. And I'm fortunate that, you know, my family sees that as well, and they're into it as well. My wife works in sports, so she knows what we're trying to accomplish. And so I think having a family and kids is actually an elevator.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, if you really just kind of, sit in the chair at night when all is quiet and everybody's asleep, and you sit there for a few minutes and you think about the torpedo that you're, sitting on top of as it's going this way,
Yep.
it's how could it not be fun? And I think that's, again, going back to that pressure and passion. As long as you remember that, I mean, it could be the ride of a lifetime, and it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell all of our team members all the time, and I say, if you ever wake up one day and you are not passionate about what we're doing, or you're not loving it, or there's some other passion, I will be the first to support you, give a great recommendation, a great referral, because people should go after what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
They really should. And it makes your work not work. Like, to me, it is not work coming in. It's part of my lifestyle. And I think that, maybe it's not like that for everybody. Like, maybe they're not quite as passionate as I might be,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the majority of our team members at Hyperice are, right? Because they found something that they love. And if people don't love it and they want to go to, I'm sure there's something else that is amazing, right? That they can
Yeah.
find that really sparks their passion.
Yeah, no, I don't like to usually talk about, multiple brands, on the same show, but another friend of mine is Kevin Plank. And I remember back when he was starting Under Armour, and
Yep.
it was a small group, and the way you're explaining where you guys are and the growth, it reminds me just like that company, how every day it was just so exciting because you don't know what's going to happen next, but you know that something great's going to happen next. And everybody was like, what's going to happen next? Let's go do it, and it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way we approach it. I, every day presents a new challenge, but it also presents a new opportunity. And when you think about what the consumer market is for what we're doing, essentially the target audience is every human that moves,
Yeah.
right? Because every person on this earth can improve their life by movement.
Mm.
And one of the definitions of movement is, continuing. Actually, a better way to approach this is when you think about how you're going to improve livelihood over time, right? And you think about what's important to people. And COVID's actually been a little bit of an accelerator because people are thinking a little bit more about their health and wellness.
Yeah.
What's more important than living your life the fullest, right? There isn't much that's more important than taking advantage of the time that we're here. So if you can improve your health, if you can improve your own longevity, if you can improve the way you feel, the way you move when you're picking up your kids, or you're engaging in your everyday lifestyle, like, what's the value to that? I mean, it's really limitless. And
Yeah.
that's what's so exciting about what we're doing.
It's true. I mean, one of the things that I look at, and maybe it's just I'm biased because of what I do, but you see those folks that are 60, 70, and they're hobbling. Their body, they're not moving well, shortened gait, waddling. They look broken, and
Yep.
they had. I'm sure there were times in their life where they could have made the choice to focus on movement. And I think even just introducing people to tools like this that
Yep.
could simply start the process and work alongside the process is an amazing gift that you guys are providing people.
Yeah. And you could say that aging represents the loss of movement over time, in a sense, right?
Yep.
And so if we can improve movement, we can improve mobility, can we kind of slower the aging process in a sense, right?
Yeah.
That's big.
You gotta think so, even too, from a circulatory standpoint and everything in between. But
Yeah.
Jim, I got one last question for you, and then I'll let you go, build this behemoth. I call it the Becoming a Champion show. Everybody's on a journey, to become a champion in all that they do. What does the word champion mean to you?
Champion, great question. I think that, to me, I think it's someone that overcomes adversity, and does it with, poise, class, and, consistency.
Yeah.
I think that, a champion to me is a great leader. I think it's less about the award or the trophy that you receive as a champion and more about the work that's been put in, what's represented in receiving that award,
Mm.
right? So I think that there is, and when you look at the great leaders and the great champions, it's very synonymous. So I think there's a deep element of leadership in the word champion. And I think there is a representation of a full body of work to get there, as opposed to just the recognition that you get once you achieve that accomplishment or goal.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that talk with CEO Jim Huether. He is running a very, very fast growing company. I told him, Jim, you sound like you're on a rocket ship right now. You're on top of a torpedo, and it must be a whole lot of fun. And as you know, he's having a whole lot of fun. He's a passion driven guy, he's an energy guy. He's super, super excited. And that's a great lesson. And also, what he told us is, hey, if I don't know something, I don't claim to know it. I I'm honest with people. And I asked him, I said, hey, have you ever run a $1 billion company before? And publicly, he said, no, I haven't. There's a lot that I don't know. There's a lot that I'm learning, and it's a whole lot of fun. And I think if we could lead in a way where we're open, we're genuine, and we're not afraid to say what it is that we don't know, we can continue to grow and we can keep our passion high, not just for growing our business or our company, but we could keep our passion high for learning and exploration. And I tip my cap to Jim. I tip my cap to the team at Hyperice, and I tip my cap to all of you for watching. So thanks for watching today's show. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy next week's episode as well. This is Coach Dana Cavalea, and I'll see you later with the Becoming a Champion show. See ya.